Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see, and have not seen it. To hear what you hear, and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise, and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
Venezuela is on the verge of chaos after President Nicolas Maduro declared a state of emergency. He also threatened to take over private factories which have stopped production and jail their owners. The measures, which initially apply for 3 months, are likely to be extended into next year.
17 bodies have been recovered by rescuers after flooding and landslides at a popular waterfall in western Indonesia's North Sumatra province. 20 students and 2 local guides were reported missing after the incident. Local authorities say 1 student has been rescued and is being treated in the hospital.
This next story looks like the beginning of a sci-fi movie. Take a look. The Portland, Maine Police Department caught the whole thing. Look at that on their dash cam video. That was a meteor flying across the night sky there.
Incredible, huh? But people in the area said a loud rumbling shock. It kind of shook houses for a few seconds, and most people saw the fireball in Maine. People across the Northeast, including right here in upstate New York, this is actually New York City, right? Upstate's a little further up. They saw this incredible phenomenon.
A bomb blast has rocked Yemen's southern city of Mukalla. The exact number of casualties is not yet known, but witnesses say that several people have been killed and wounded. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack on Sunday. 2 suicide bombings in Mukalla claimed by ISIL left nearly 50 people dead. Mukalla was a hub of al-Qaeda in the past, but the group was pushed out in a military offensive by forces loyal to ousted Yemeni President Hadi last month.
And we head overseas now to France, where violent protests broke out in central Paris. It happened at the Place de la République, where several angry protesters surrounded a police car, trying to smash its windows and then set it on fire. The officers inside managed to escape. The violence broke out shortly after police staged a rally protesting brutality against their ranks. Paris prosecutors say they've opened an investigation into what they're calling an attempted manslaughter. The clash has come amid massive anti-labor reform demonstrations, which have been raging in France for months.
Well, to Iraq, where 2 bomb blasts have killed at least 2 people, wounding several others in the capital, Baghdad. The bombs ripped through Dora and Al-Madain neighborhoods. There has been no immediate claim of responsibility, but the Daesh terrorist group regularly carries out similar attacks in Iraq. This comes one day after multiple blasts rocked Baghdad, killing over 70 and leaving nearly 150 others injured. Last week, Daesh terrorists carried out 3 bomb attacks in Baghdad, which claimed nearly 100 lives. The surge in terrorist attacks comes as Daesh has been pushed out of much of the land that it previously captured in Iraq in 2014.
3 villages were buried in the district of Kegoli, 100 kilometers northeast of the capital Colombo. Rescuers found 37 bodies, but many more people are believed to be trapped under the mud. President Matripala Srisena visited survivors in the Buddhist temple being used as a temporary refuge, and the Red Cross official said it was feared that the death toll could be around 300 to 400. Torrential downpours have forced more than 220,000 people from their homes across the country. Flooding and droughts are common in Sri Lanka, which is battered by its sudden monsoon between May and September.
The southern United States is coping this morning with an onslaught of extreme weather. Thunderstorms lit up the sky overnight in San Antonio. Dangerous hail slammed the city. And a tornado yesterday along Florida's eastern coast damaged homes.
Overnight flooded roads are what plagued the South. In St. Lucie County, Florida, a tornado ripped through homes and scattered belongings Tuesday afternoon. Parts of Catherine Richardson's roof were torn clean off.
It just came through the runners, and so I run back on the other side of the house. Everything was just destroyed. It's just destroyed.
The skies also opened up over Vero Beach, flooding streets and damaging property. The nearly 10 inches of rain clogged roads all along the beach town. At one point, the U.S. Highway 1 was underwater in some areas. The downpour forced one man to get creative, floating down the street in a canoe. Thunderstorms and baseball-sized hail smashed southwest Texas overnight, and the storm left about 10,000 people without power. Lightning lit up the San Antonio sky, where at one point more than 500 volts were recorded in 5 minutes. Back in Florida, this time in the city of Jacksonville, one lightning bolt was enough to engulf a house in flames. No one was home at the time. Further north in Savannah, Georgia, this is what it was like to drive through floodwater there. One man's car became stuck in knee-deep water. Those affected by the storm are just grateful to be safe this morning.
It's still very scary, and there's going to be a big mess tomorrow.
Around 330 million people from 10 states have been affected by the severe weather. Officials in New Delhi are taking drastic measures to conserve water, cutting off supplies to entire communities for days at a time. In the northeast state of Bihar, the local government has banned cooking between 9 a.m. till 6 at night. Violators could face imprisonment for up to 2 years. Stronger than usual monsoon rains forecast for this July are expected to help relieve the drought.
NATO has finalized its biggest military buildup plan since the end of the Cold War to counter what it calls Russia's aggressive policies. NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg says the Western military alliance will deploy more troops into Eastern Europe as part of a, quote, deter and dialogue strategy. Stoltenberg was speaking on the sidelines of a NATO ministerial meeting in Brussels. The NATO chief said the meeting would address all important issues to prepare for a summit to be held in Poland in July. On Wednesday, he said NATO wants dialogue with Russia to ease tensions over the Ukraine crisis. Russia has long expressed concerns over NATO's eastward expansion. Moscow accuses the U.S. and the Western military alliance of returning to a Cold War mindset of mutual suspicion and military competition.
The latest figures from the United Nations suggest this is a problem that is not going away. Since the start of this year, there have been 44 new allegations of sexual abuse carried out by UN peacekeepers or UN staff. Those claims involve more than 40 abused minors. UN spokesman Stefan Dujarric detailed the new numbers, saying that investigations had started into these allegations. From those 44, 29 of the incidents were reported in the Central African Republic, 7 in the Democratic Republic of Congo, 2 in Haiti, and 1 each in South Sudan, Mali, Côte d'Ivoire, and the Abyei region of Sudan and South Sudan. The vast majority, 35 in total, allegedly involved UN military personnel. Well, these latest cases come off the back of a string of allegations against UN peacekeepers, especially those serving in African nations. Dujarric said in a number of cases, countries have acted quickly, jailing soldiers who've been found guilty. That, he said, was a hugely important step, as it gave victims access to justice. But these latest allegations will do little to reassure people that the United Nations has this situation under control.
And Sri Lankan officials say at least 58 people are dead after a landslide swallowed 3 hillside villages. And soldiers are now searching for more than 100 people who are reportedly missing. By Friday morning, rescuers had recovered 30 bodies. The government ordered all schools to close on Friday. More rain was forecasted.
On the U.S. mainland, Florida is the front line in the Zika fight. More than 100 cases have been reported here, more than any other state. You're not going to get Zika in the woods while you're hunting or at the lake while you're on your boat. You might get it at your front door.
That's exactly right. While you're standing next to your car to go on your hunting trip or to the beach or to the park, that's when the mosquito will fly up, bite you in the ankle. It's not in those typical places that we as Floridians think of as mosquito biting territory.
Michael Doyle of the Florida Keys Mosquito District suspects Zika cases will rise as summer approaches. As of now, all of Florida's Zika patients contracted the virus from travel-related exposure. In February, the White House requested approximately $1.9 billion in emergency funding. Congress is debating it.
We need to deal with this seriously.
Republican Senator Marco Rubio represents Florida.
We're going to spend a lot more money if we don't deal with this on the front end. If this becomes a serious outbreak, it's not going to cost $1.9 billion. It could cost $4 billion or $5 billion.
Republican Hal Rogers, chairman of the Appropriations Committee, is a critic.
The request they sent us would allow the $1.9 billion to be used for anything in the government. It's almost like a slush fund.
Mosquitoes don't know whether their target is a Democrat or a Republican. The Zika impacts all of us.
Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, also from Florida, insists part of the money will be used to develop a Zika vaccine and raise awareness in a state that thrives on tourism.
We're now going into the mosquito season. Every week, the chances of having enough of them to start transmitting it from travelers to local people increases.